One mic.
All I need is one mic.
It's just different.
One mic with Big Mike.
The overall tenor of what he's saying is very stupid.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
Maybe it's not racism. Maybe it's placism.
Brother has to know his place, right, Bob?
One mic with Big Mike.
Things aren't always what they seem.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limit.
Don't just tell me that the reason something's being done is because that's the way it's always been done. Because the first thing I'm going to say to you is slavery.
And now, your host.
I got the big homie here who needs no introduction.
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic.
Yep, we made it to another Friday, man. Welcome to Friday. Welcome to the One Mic with Big Mike show here on Spreaker.com. That's Spreaker.com. Spreaker also has an app that's available for all your mobile devices. So make sure you go to your app store, download that situation so you can take me wherever you go. I'm also on the TuneIn app if you got that joint on your phone or your tablet or your situation. And, of course, I'm on the website, onemicwithbigmike.com, here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, starting at 7 o'clock. I usually go to around 9 o'clock, barring any special circumstances like a World Series Game 7 or something like that. But, you know, no such thing tonight, so we're probably going to go for the full haul tonight. Don't forget, if you don't get a chance to stick around for the entire show, the show is available on demand. All the shows I've ever done, going back to last November. On, what day was that? I think Wednesday. Wednesday marked a year of activity for the One Mic with Big Mike show. So everything I've done for an entire year is available on any of the 4 outlets that I've already mentioned, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, on Stitcher, Google Play Music, and YouTube. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube, subscribe to the iTunes as well. Like my Google Play Music so you can get an alert every time a new episode is, uploaded. And make sure you guys are liking my Facebook page where I'm streaming live video right now. It is facebook.com/1MICWITHBIGMIKE. The same handle goes for my Twitter and my Instagram. I'm at One Mic with Big Mike. And make sure you guys interact with the show, man. Text your boy at 404-902-8104, whatever kind of commentary you want to add, or if you got any questions, however you want to run your situation, 404-902-8104. You can also leave your comments right below the live streaming video on Facebook, or you guys can jump inside my live interactive chat room here on Spreaker. You got to be listening via Spreaker, though, to be able to get inside the chat room. You do so by clicking on a little thought bubble icon that you see on the streaming player. It is available, like I just mentioned, if you're listening via Spreaker.com or the Spreaker app, or if you're listening via my website, onemicwithbigmike.com. You'll see the streaming player there as well. You guys can just click on the thought bubble icon, and boom, you'll be in the building. Make sure you guys are clicking the little heart as well. You'll see a little heart icon there. Click that and share me. Share the show with all your friends. Let your people know about it. It's still a grassroots movement, so we're going to try to grow this thing from the bottom up. And wait till I tell you guys what happened earlier. It seems like it's my Friday ritual now. Had another Facebook situation go on today as it relates to my marketing, the marketing of my show and the promo of my show. So we'll talk about that a little bit later, as well as, don't forget, bottom of the hour. We'll take a look back into the history, into the annals of sports, and I'll do my daily feature or my per episode feature called On This Day, where I give you guys some historical tidbits that you may be able to take with you and use in some sort of arena as life permits. Also, I got a question of the day. My question of the day, and I'm gonna kind of discuss this today. I want to try to do that more. Make the question of the day a part of the discussion for the show, and I fail miserably most of the time doing it. But today, based on what happened the other night, the World Series, and how it happened and who came out on top, the Chicago Cubs, just in case you've been living under a rock somewhere, won the World Series in 10 innings over the Cleveland Indians by 1 run. What was it, 8-7 or something like that? But it got me to thinking. You know, with all the hoopla going on around the team and around the city of Chicago and the nation, you know, the ratings for the World Series Game 7 were historically high. Not just for baseball, just historically high, period, for the World Series. And it got me to thinking, you know, now that this is done and over with, you know, 1908 to 2016 is the span of time that's taken place between the last time the Cubs won a World Series and now, and it became a big-time storyline with all the curses and the Billy Goat and Bartman and all that kind of stuff. So what's now? What's next? You know, what's the next great untold sports story? And I had a hard time, man. I had a hard time trying to think of what it would necessarily be. And some people chimed in on the social media tip, and I'll read those answers here as the show goes on. You guys can still chime in. You can text your answers to 404-902-8104. That's 404-902-8104. You can also drop them inside my live interactive chat room. And I never say this either. You guys can tweet them to me. Tweet and what is the other one? Instagram them to me if you want to at the number one MICWITHBIGMIKE. You can leave them as comments below the live streaming video on Facebook. The Facebook page is the same exact handle, One Mic with Big Mike. And we're going to try to figure this out tonight, or not, whatever. It's Friday, man. We're going to just try to, goof around with it and have fun with it. And I want to say this. I'm impressed by people who actually had fun with the question. And that's kind of like the tone of it. It don't need to be that serious. And maybe that's my fault. Nah, it is my fault for not, making that clear that it ain't got to be like these serious questions. I need to probably put more thought into the silliness and stupidness of the question. My man Peter Quill answered earlier in the day, and I thought he was just playing, but apparently he wasn't. And we'll get all into that as the show goes on. Let's see what else I got for you guys today. We had Thursday Night Football last night, and the Falcons pushed it way in on the Buccaneers. And you know what? Those type of games should be better, but the Thursday night situation is just like straight poo-poo. And for my man, I hope he's listening tonight. I am No Dose. We had a conversation a couple weeks ago about why one of my questions of the day, and I don't know if I mentioned the question of the day, is brought to us by sportsnewsandbrews.com. The homie Rob Calloway. Check out the HBCU report tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock right here on Spreaker. But we had a little back and forth, me and my man I am No Dose, about the ratings in the NFL and why they were so bad, and he had some things to say. And one of the things that he mentioned was quarterback play. And I told you guys on that episode that I didn't have time to do all the research that it would take to actually prove or disprove that point. But luckily for me, I'm not the only one who thinks the way I think, which is a shame for the other people who think like I do, but whatever. The research was done, and I found an article talking about how kind of supporting what I was saying on that day, that I don't think quarterback play is worse. And as a matter of fact, I think it's better than it's ever been. And this article kind of backs it up, so I want to kind of get into that as well. Some things going on in the NCAA. Got a couple of games this weekend to really watch for. Not a lot. Like my man Ben Troop said on Monday, it's usually the games that you're not really checking for is the ones that that provide the most entertainment. But as far as like now, we talking about playoff implications now. That's pretty much what the conversation is each and every weekend now, since we got the rankings coming out on Tuesdays. So we'll talk about with that, what's going on with that. Penn State, back in the news today. I had to move the Baylor story over from from the other night because I didn't have time to do it all in 90 minutes. And then Harvard is in the news today, and I don't know how I feel about why they're in the news, to be honest with you. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the weekend to come in professional football as well, and some other storylines that are surrounding the NFL. Also, some NBA stuff. The Hawks are taking on the Washington Wizards again tonight. I think they opened the season with the damn Wizards. That Wizards team should be better and more entertaining than they are, but they're not. Just whatever. They got Brad Beal, they got John Wall, and them dudes don't get along. Like that's like the real story of two teammates not getting along. It's not the KD Russ thing, man. That's kind of played, and people they kind of forcing that down your throat when it shouldn't be that way. But we'll talk about those two guys from last night, man. OKC got the best the better of. I'm sorry, Golden State got the better of OKC. I almost said it backwards. And like it's Friday, so I got some miscellaneous stuff that I want to get off my chest. You know, my segment that I still haven't produced anything for. What you looking at? Saw something last night, something that I meant to bring up to you guys for a while now. Not a while, I ain't gonna say like it's been that long, but a show that really caught my eye. That I love Vice, man. Like Viceland, the whole kit and caboodle. Everything they do is just like top quality work, and it's so much better than anything else that's on TV as far as being informed and getting news and things of that nature. So I'll try to like hip you guys to that as well. The Ben Simmons joint's coming on tonight too for you guys who have Showtime. I talked about the Ben Simmons One and Done documentary. I heard the producer of it on Dan Patrick's show today, and it's a pretty decent interview, and they kind of effed around today. It was a Friday for them too, so they kind of like effed around a little bit, but it was a pretty good interview. So I want to give my thoughts, some more thoughts on that, and I got to try to figure out a way. I think Showtime, you can get Showtime like on your phone or whatever for free for like 30 days or whatever, and I've been kind of like saving that for something, and so I might just download. I can't stand watching things on my phone though for whatever reason. You know what I mean? I like to. And I know I can like mirror it to the smart TV and all that, but then I can't use my phone then. And it ain't available on any of the tablets I got. We got like 4 or 5 tablets around this joint. And I guess maybe because they're pretty old, but whatever. So let's start. Let's start with, as we get 12 minutes into the show, let's start, right? The question of the day. Let's start with that. What's the next big sports story? The Cubs have won the World Series now, and that was a story that was waiting to be told. Before that, you had the Boston Red Sox and their, curse of Babe Ruth and all that kind of stuff. But now that the Cubs have won, it's like, where the hell do you go? What's the next big sports story? And I don't know, and that's why I'm leaning on you guys, man. If you guys got any suggestions, by all means, like I say, you can jump inside this interactive chat room. If you're listening via Spreaker, hit on that, click on that little thought bubble icon, and you'll be up in the chat room. Also, make sure you sign up for your free Spreaker accounts and follow me on Spreaker. The number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. And here's some of the ones I thought about, so we can kind of like get the juices flowing. I thought about Tiger Woods, the next big untold story. Like Tiger Woods is still chasing. Is it Arnold Palmer? Jack Nicklaus? Who is it? I think it's Arnold Palmer, right? No? Arnold Palmer is the cat that just died. The lemonade and iced tea cat. So I think it's Jack Nicholson. Anyway, Tiger's trying to get the most. Still trying to get the most majors in all of golf. But here's the thing. Like, even if Tiger comes back, and I ain't even, like, go that far in my thought process. I was like, Tiger just coming back and winning a major, I think will be a major story for a minute. But then it could so quickly also be sullied by the fact that he just wins. Like if he wins by like 2 strokes or whatever. Like Tiger, when Tiger was was killing cats. It was just like dominating the field every time out. So for him to just come back and like squeak one out, that would actually just be Tiger being a regular mortal golfer. Because if you pay attention, even if you pay attention like me a little bit to golf, what you notice is anybody pretty much wins these things. I mean, I know they try to pump up like Rory and Jordan Spieth and Jason Day and these cats, but for the most part, look at these majors, man. Like cats that's like 100 and something in the world ranking. These are the cats that's winning golf tournaments a lot of times. You hear the names, Phil Mickelson and these cats, but in reality, since Tiger been gone, like everybody's winning. I mean, everybody get them a piece of the major pie. So if Tiger came back and he was to win a major, it'd be like, all right, whatever. Now, if he were to come back and dominate again, which I don't see happening, or even if he came back and was just winning, but then he ended up getting the record, maybe that would be a story, because it's something that at this point, where at one point it seemed to be a foregone conclusion. But now, through all the injuries, through all the personal trials and tribulations, and by the way, Tiger got him a new broad too. I think she's a model, and she's a step up from the wifey and Lindsey Vonn, from what I could see while I was scrolling through today, doing my reading. But anyway, through the personal stuff, through the injuries, if he were to win, because it would be so unlikely, maybe that would be a story on par with what we saw with the Cubs, but I don't think so. You know, the record would be there, and it would be untouchable because no one's going to dominate golf like that again. We saw that, and it's kind of here and gone. The other thing I thought about was maybe an American heavyweight champion, but even with that, you got the UFC that's taking a whole lot of attention away from, like boxing right now. It's so niche or niche, however you prefer to pronounce it, that even if like some American cat became the heavyweight champion of the world, the thing you'd be looking at then is like, all right, well, who is he competing against? Who is his Frazier? Or who is his Foreman? Who is his Norton? You know what I mean? And I'm going way back now. You know what I mean? It's been that long. So even when you had like Mike Tyson and Larry Holmes and Spinks and those cats, even up to Evander Holyfield, like since that time, and I'm not the biggest boxing guy, like my man, like Rob Calloway is like he's big into boxing, not me so much. But even when you get to the point where you're talking about another heavyweight that's from America, like how big a deal is that to people? Like no one really cares about boxing. It's like a slum sport, you know. If you're a lover of boxing, you're pretty much probably a lover of boxing because your dad was a lover of boxing, and you know the men in your family were before you. But right now, all you're doing, you're like soccer guy. You know what I mean? Like you just don't understand the beauty of the sweet science. Maybe not, but it doesn't matter. The sport is kind of lame. You know, Floyd Mayweather as what the hell was he, a lightweight or something, welterweight? Like he brought a lot of that Ali type of attention to the sport, but now he's gone. Like he's just this guy that's sitting back and people are waiting to say, oh man, Floyd ain't done. I don't know. And I don't think it matters because if Floyd was to come back, who you gonna fight? Manny Pacquiao again? Remember that travesty? Everybody was like, man, the fight of the century. And I remember being on this very microphone when we were doing the Sports Kings, and I was like, Rob, it's going to be the biggest letdown of all time. Everybody's going to be paying their money. They're going to be running out to Vegas. Rob's in Vegas. He was already going to be in Vegas, though, so he ain't run out there just for the fight. But everybody was out there in Vegas. They wanted to see this mega fight, and it was all crap. It was all nothing. You know what I mean? So with that being said, I don't really see that being a thing either. You know, speaking of the UFC, Ronda Rousey's supposed to be coming back. Last time you saw Ronda Rousey, she was getting a face kicked in by Holly Holm. Ronda Rousey was at Iron Mike Tyson status, like can't be beating broads in like 90 seconds. Like she beat a chick in like 15 seconds, and somebody had the whole fight on this one, like not Facebook, what was it? On Instagram, where you can only have like 15-second videos or something like that. Yeah, she beat a broad that quickly. But then she got beat by Holly Holm, and nobody's seen her since. It's been a minute, right? It's been like a year plus. And now she's going to come back and fight in UFC, I guess, 202 maybe. But even with that, she comes back, and let's say she dominates again. She already told Ellen DeGeneres on her show that, guess what? I'm not going to be fighting for so much longer because, I mean, think about it. You know, she's got her looks. She's already embarked upon a acting career. She's been in the Entourage movies. She's in one of the Fast and Furious movies. I guess she's about to do the remake or has already done the remake to Roadhouse, the Patrick Swayze joint. So, I mean, it really doesn't serve her any purpose anymore to get hit in the face for a living, other than to jump her ass back into the ring and just to say, you know what, I can still do this, to kind of get that monkey off her back. So her coming back, I don't even look at that as a story, to be honest with you, especially when you see the fluctuation in the women's division when it comes to UFC. You know what I mean? Like Holly Holm won, got her ass beat. What was the girl's name? Was her name Nisha Tate? I think she won and got her ass beat. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of just sitting there waiting for Holly Holm to come back any damn way. So I don't know. And what I'm talking about right now, if you're just tuning in, I'm talking about what the next untold story is in sports. Now that the Cubs have won, like the Cubs were like that story that was sitting there ready to be told in some sort of way. You had these young kids, Chris Bryant. Remember last year there was this whole thing about Chris Bryant being sent back down to the minor leagues at the beginning of the year, and people wanted to act like that was a thing, like they didn't understand sending him down to the minor leagues for 12 days got the Cubs another year of control under this great young baseball player's contract. Like that wasn't the thing to do, like the common sense thing to do. And that came and went, but it's a part of the story. It's a part of this untold story that was just sitting there without an ending for 100+ years. But now that it's over with, who knows, man? Who cares about anything else? It is the One Mic with Big Mike show. I'm looking for your answers as well. You guys can leave them as comments below my Facebook live video, which is on my Facebook page, the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. You can also tweet and Instagram them to me at the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. You can jump inside my live interactive chat room if you guys want to just listen to the show on Spreaker or the Spreaker app, SPREAKER. And then click that little thought bubble icon. It'll get you inside the live interactive chat room where you guys can go back and forth with me about this situation. You can also log on to the website, onemicwithbigmike.com, or text your thoughts, your questions, your comments, all those things to 404-902-8104. I got some I guess answers to the question of the day. It's brought to us by sportsnewsandbrews.com, and it is, what's the next big story? And I mentioned earlier, my man Peter Quill was like, man, if the Falcons become Super Bowl champs, and I sent him back like the laughing hysterically with the tears sticker. And that's my guy, and he apparently didn't appreciate it. You know what I mean? Because I was like, what are you talking about? No one would care. No one who doesn't cheer for the Falcons would care if the Falcons won a Super Bowl. And it's not a dig at the Falcons. And I try to explain this to him, but just think about any other Super Bowl winning teams. Like, if it's not the team that you cheer for, you really don't care. You care because it's the Super Bowl. But it's not like what we saw, this national, I guess, show of emotion, maybe, towards the Cubs or towards the Red Sox when they won. It wouldn't be that. The same way, and this is exactly how I explained it to him, the same way you didn't care that the Broncos won or that the Seahawks won or that the Patriots won. Like, the closest thing to this would probably have been, to me, the closest thing to this probably would have been that 2007 season where the Patriots had an opportunity to go undefeated for an entire season and they blew it in the Super Bowl. Like, that's all I cared about. Like, all season long, I wanted the Patriots to lose. But then when they got to the Super Bowl, I was like, well, now I want to see history. And it didn't happen. Like, that probably would have been the thing that would have gotten people to, and I still don't think that would have been that big a deal. Other than the fact that it was an undefeated season, and most people, if you're my age, I'm about to be 40 now, you never seen that, and probably never thought that you would see that. So that in and of itself was an incentive to look at that as a big story. But other than that, I don't know that any Super Bowl winning team, any team winning the Super Bowl, has the same level of history. And that's what Peter Quill was trying to say earlier, like, this team's history. And I was like, what history? The Atlanta Falcons have no history. They're just your average run-of-the-mill team. Like, this team might as well be the damn Miami. Not even the Dolphins got history, so I'm not going to say the Dolphins. It might as well be the damn, Houston Texans or the San Diego Chargers. Yeah, there's no real difference in those teams. This is not one of the the premier franchises, the Cowboys, the Raiders, you know, even with the Patriots. I know we kind of want to think that way about the Patriots, but after like Steve Grogan in those years, like 85, the Patriots were bad, man. Then Bob Kraft and then Bill Belichick, and they discovered Tom Brady, and then the Patriots became what we know them to be now. But yeah, let's not get it twisted. Like, this is one of those teams that the league was built upon. Nah, they're good now, and they're probably gonna be bad again once Tom Brady leaves or gets traded. You heard what he said, that he can see that he don't see himself as untouchable after the Jamie Collins trade. And a couple years ago, I remember his dad saying, point blank, that it's not going to end well for my son in New England. Like, that's the realest thing they ever wrote. You know what I mean? The man said, look, straight up, the Patriots handle business. And when Tom Brady starts getting bad, yeah, he going to be the next Drew Bledsoe. He's going to be playing for somebody else. This dude who say he want to play till he's 50, my man, right out. You see what Vince Wilfork, again, Jamie Collins, Bones Jones brother, Chandler Jones. Like, these cats can play football, just not for the Patriots. And that, I ain't talk about this. That Jamie Collins thing was whack, dude. They traded that dude from the Patriots to the Browns. I don't know what that dude did to piss Bill Belichick off. They saying it's about more than money, and it ain't about his freelancing ways on the field. But you could have hooked that dude up, you know, better than that. You could have said that, like, I don't know. I don't know, man. You could have hooked that dude up better than that. But, you know, don't shed no tears for that cat. He getting compensated handsomely for his trouble. Let's check out some more of these answers. Joe Hartnett says Tom Brady wins 5th ring, forcing Goodell to hand him the Lombardi. Well, that's why I wanted them to win last year. I wanted the Patriots to win last year, only because I wanted to see that uncomfortable exchange with Robert Kraft, that you didn't hit this dude with the $1 million fine and then took his draft picks, and you didn't try to suspend Brady, but at that time he had beat the rap. Yeah, I was all about that life. But still, it doesn't really vibe with the question. It doesn't really vibe with the best untold story, because that's something that for sadistic people like me and what's my man named Joe Hartnett, yeah, that's entertainment for us to watch Tom Brady just kind of give this cat the middle finger, and it could still happen this year. Coming off the damn suspension, the actual suspension. I would like to see that. Yeah, like, I don't have a really rooting interest in any team, but as a way for me to have something to talk about on my show, you damn right. Yeah, you damn right. And then, like, watch Robert Kraft just push his ass off the podium at the what is it, trophy ceremony. Yeah, I'll be with that. Miss Tasha Turner says, if the Browns win a game, not a championship now, mind you, a game, period. Yeah, see, that's what I like. I love, like, ignorance when it comes to this type of stuff, because that's what that is. That's pure unadulterated ignorance. If they win a game, that's going to be the same thing as the Cubs winning a championship. And, man, Hugh getting, man, like, how they going with Cody Kessler this week, by the way, over Josh McCown. And at this point, you might as well. You drafted him. Hell, you told everybody that you didn't want Wentz, and now apparently Hugh is saying that they thought about Dak Prescott. All right, whatever. I mean, Dak Prescott, let's not get it twisted. He's in a situation that's good for him, and I mentioned the same thing about Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is in a situation that's good for him. You got an offensive head coach. You got a former NFL quarterback that's your, I think, offensive coordinator, and I think there's a former NFL quarterback as his quarterback coach as well. So he's very well insulated with guys who can teach him the NFL game. So let's not act like any team. This ain't, you know, some dude that you could have just drafted in any team, he or Dak Prescott, and it would have just worked out that way. Nah. One more before we go to break here. My man, Alfonso May. Renee might like this one. The Lions win the Super Bowl in the year 3025. Oh, man. Like, I don't know. We'll do this for the whole show, man. You guys can still chime in, 404-902-8104. You can also do it in my live interactive chat room, or if you want to leave your comments below the streaming video on the Facebook page, One Mic with Big Mike. What do you think is the next great untold sports story? Now that the Cubs have won a couple years ago, the Red Sox won. They exercised their curse, if you believe in that kind of thing, both teams. What's next? Or are we just tapped out? Are we just like without a great untold sports story? It is the One Mike with Big Mike show. I'm here on Spreaker, here at around 9 o'clock, so tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Also on the Spreaker app, tune in, and the website, One Mike with Big Mike. I'll be back in 90 seconds.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mike with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mike with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemikewithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
Go Caleb! Come on, hit a homer, Jesse!
Let's go, guys!
Hey, did you guys know that kids who play sports earn more money when they grow up?
Of course. I knew that.
Hey, did you guys know that kids who read books have a bigger vocabulary?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Wow, jinx. Did you guys know that friendly children have more friends?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's true. I knew that. Did you guys know that winter babies are better at music?
Everyone knows that.
Oh, yeah?
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
obvious.
Oh, hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Huh, I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure I knew that.
I'm pretty sure you didn't.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
And now, back to One Mike.
What are we waiting for? Let's get to it.
With Big Mike.
Yeah. Getting ready for the weekend. Well, welcome to the weekend. I guess you can officially call this the weekend now. Right here on the One Mike with Big Mike show. I'm here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, starting at 7 o'clock. I usually go to around 9 or so. Not or so, to 9. I'm here on Spreaker.com, Spreaker.com. The Spreaker app is available for all your mobile devices, whatever platform you happen to be using. I'm also live on TuneIn, and of course the website, onemikewithbigmike.com. Sign up for your free Spreaker accounts. And once you do that, search for One Mike with Big Mike, and then follow me on Spreaker. That way you get an alert when the show goes live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You get an alert. That way you can share it with your friends. Tell your friends it's time for the One Mike with Big Mike show. Speaking of your friends, let them know that if they don't get a chance to hear the show live, I know it's Friday. I know some of y'all getting ready for date night. You might be trying to head down to your local basketball game. We got the Hawks going on here in the city of Atlanta where I'm at. But if you guys want to check out the show at a later date, you can do a later time, I should say. You can do so on all 4 of the platforms I already mentioned, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and, of course, YouTube. And make sure you subscribe to the YouTube, subscribe to the iTunes, and follow me on Google Play. You get an alert from Google Play as well every time a new episode is uploaded. So make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a damn friend, man. And also make sure you guys like me on Facebook, One Mike with Big Mike. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. See all my foolishness that I'm posting. I tend to tweet more when there's a game on, football game or a basketball game or whatnot. So you guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. Text the show at 404-902-8104. Jump inside this live interactive chat room or leave your thoughts, comments, and questions below the live streaming video on Facebook. I am live on Facebook, Facebook.com/One Mike with Big Mike. This is the time of the show when we don't have a guest, where I take a look back into the history and the annals of sports. I call it On This Day.
Now, let's take a look back.
On this day.
All right, children. You ready for your history lesson, your sports history lesson? On this day in 1889, the Players' League begins, declaring independence from baseball's National League. On this day in 1904, the first stadium built specifically for football was at Harvard Stadium. We got some more news about Harvard here as the show rolls on as well. On this day in 1924, California legalizes marijuana. No, I'm playing. They trying to get that popping like next week. It ain't happened in no damn 1924. No, California legalizes professional boxing, which was illegal since 1914. Also on this day in 1959, Ernie Banks, Chicago Cubs shortstop, he wins the National League Most Valuable Player. I bring up Ernie Banks because he's one of the guys who had to toil through the last 100-plus years of no championships, one of the all-time greats in baseball. If you notice, the year is 1959, so this is post-Jackie Robinson. And if you don't know, Ernie Banks was a brother. Or is he still alive? Let's just call him is a brother because I don't want to kill off old Ernie if he ain't already gone. On this day in 1987, the NBA announces 4 new franchises. Those franchises were the Charlotte Hornets, who became the Bobcats, who became the Hornets again, the Miami Heat for 1988, the Minneapolis, now Minnesota Timberwolves, and of course the Orlando Magic. And on the same exact day, 2 years later, the Orlando Magic played their first NBA game. It was the start of a era that really never amounted to anything. Penny and Nick Anderson, and of course the great Shaquille O'Neal. They weren't all on the team at this point yet, but they lost the first game anyway to the Nets, which were the New Jersey Nets, 111-106. Oh, okay. So I wouldn't have been killing Ernie Banks off. He gone. He left us last January. Excuse me. I don't know why that made me laugh just now. I do know why, because I'm good for doing that. I'm good for calling people dead that ain't like you. Like, let me not hear from Renee for like a day or two. I'm like, damn, Renee must be gone. And that's like my default. Like, if I don't hear from you or hear about somebody for a long time, it's just me automatically like, man, they must be dead or locked up. And I know he ain't locked up. Anyway, last one. On this day in 2001, former Dallas Cowboy Nate Newton, y'all remember this, he got arrested in Louisiana after police found 213 pounds of marijuana in a van he was driving. You remember? You remember Nate was like, I wanted to be the best at everything. If I was going to sell weed, I wanted to be the best weed man. My man. God dog, Nate. You SOB you. And that is your final on this day of the week. Yeah, really, Renee. Yeah, stay in touch, man. Like, Renee hates stuff like that. Like most people, you guys are weirdos. You feel like if someone says something, the power, like I have some sort of power. Like I wish Renee was dead. Like then Renee would really die if I wished that. I wish I did have that power. I wish I had the power to wish I had that power. Like, yeah, it'd be some slow singing and flower bringing around this piece for some folks. Damn right. But it doesn't work that way. Sorry. So, yeah, I'm stuck just, having to deal with D-bag people. Not you, Renee, but other D-bags that I've worked for in the past and whatever. Speaking of D-bags, somebody who a lot of people think was a D-bag. Oh, no. Renee's like, she's in the chat room. You guys can join her in there if you want to. Click that little thought bubble you see on the streaming player if you're listening via Spreaker. Or, of course, the Spreaker app on your mobile device. Don't do it if you're driving, though. Or nobody dying. Because now they trying, not because I care if you live or die, only because I know what they do now. They try to put, like, your last message or the last thing you was doing when you died on TV. It's just bad promo for the kid. I'm just I'm just looking out for number one. It's just bad promo for me if you die listening to my show. So, yeah, don't do that. Put it on the auxiliary and just, listen, but don't interact and all that. Renee says, I can't be sick on that day. Getting some, I got to be dead. Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Yeah, dude. That's pretty much how it works. It's either 0 or 100 with the kid. Like, yeah, man, I ain't heard from Renee in like 2 damn days. Whew. Let me turn on channel 2 and see what's popping. Anyway, douchebags, or what did I say? Anyway, Bill Simmons, apparently, his show, Any Given Wednesday, has been canceled on HBO. I only saw a couple of episodes of it. I saw the one with Doug Baldwin and that dude, Joel. I can't think of his name. He's a funny-ass dude, though. He did that show, Talk Soup, and Community. He was on that as well. But I saw that episode, and I saw the one with I saw 3 episodes. Seth Rogen and the one with the fat kid from Superbad. Yeah, I saw it a couple times, and it was kind of awkward. But the guests were funny, and that's kind of like the thing that you don't want as a host. You don't want your guests to be like better than you. You want them to be good, but you don't want the guest to be the thing that's carrying your show when it's called Any Given Wednesday with Bill Simmons. You know what I mean? And that seemed to be the problem. Like, he had these guests on there, and from what I saw, the guest was awesome. They had good stories, and it was funny. Seth Rogen, of course, was talking about weed. Doug Baldwin was entertaining too. You know what I mean? In a dry sense of humor type of way. But then you have the host is not really that good. You know, so they canceled it. And it's one of those things that, you know, in TV now and in media now, you don't get a lot of time, man. Like, you get a couple of weeks, and that dude is getting paid like, he signed like a $20 million deal with HBO, man. So they're going to have to find something to do with this dude, man. Like, he signed like a $20 million deal from what I read like last week when, you know, there was some speculations about the show being canceled. So they're going to have to find somewhere to throw this dude real quick, man, so he can earn his money or not, man. He's what I call white losing, man. That's the way white men lose in this country, man. Like, you lose in this country. My show got canceled. I can't believe it. Oh, I'm getting $20 million over the next couple of years. Yeah, that don't happen with us, bruh. They fire your ass. Matter of fact, some bruh just got fired 2 hours ago. Like Friday, you know, they try to keep down, you know, the probability of an incident. They wait till the end of the day Friday. By the way, Jamal, before you walk out the door, why don't you step in here for a minute? Yeah, you step in there. That's the last damn time Jamal stepping into that damn office. Security waiting on his ass to get escorted out the joint. Yeah, man. That's happened a couple of times across the country since I've been doing this show. Since I've started talking, somebody's been driving home mad as hell. That's how I got fired. It wasn't a Friday, though. But I remember I asked that douchebag, I was like, look, man, before I get on this highway, because he called me like, yo, you coming in today? I was like, yeah, I'm coming in. Are you about to fire me? Oh, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. I still took my black ass down there like a fool. Just to get that damn news to turn right around. You just wasted your gas. Anyway, I've been talking about in the first segment of the show what the next big sports story is going to be. Now the Cubs have won, and everybody was happy. They had a parade today. It was popping. An estimated 5 million people down that joint. Yeah, but now what? You know, what is there to anticipate now? Like, I mentioned this to my man Matt Latosky the other day. I asked him the question, like, what would be more beneficial, the Cubs losing or winning? And as you know, a selfish broadcaster, probably losing. I don't talk a lot about baseball, but that would probably be one of the things that there would be to talk about. The Cubs losing and all those people and their damn heartache. Like, the Indians would have just, their enthusiasm would have just spilled over from LeBron them. You know what I mean? It would just kind of kept going. It would have just been kept going from what they already experienced with LeBron them. So it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. Yeah, it would have ended a little bit of a drought for them as well, but no one really cares. It's Cleveland, and they just won a championship. But the Cubs, man, is like a much bigger deal. And now that it's happened, even after the game, it just seemed I tweeted it. It seemed very anticlimactic. Like, no one knew what to do. You know, you see you see LeBron them win the championship. LeBron on all fours, he crying and hugging Kevin Love and hollering and screaming at Doris Burke, Cleveland, and all. Yeah, and they win in baseball. It's like, these dudes done had us buttoned up all damn year. We don't know what to do. They're giving like these sensible interviews, and everybody's all calm. And maybe part of that was the fact that they won on the road. They didn't win at Wrigley, because that would have been total ape crap. Cats would have been on the field like Hank Aaron just broke the record again. It would have been, I think it would have been way, way, way sicker, man. But didn't work out that way. The other thing that came out of that game, couple questions I had for that game. Like on the days where I can't come up with no question of the day, I had like 50 questions hit my mind today based on a bunch of everything. And the other one was this feeling that game, because of the excitement, what was going on social media around the game, the way people just kind of shut down. Like, dude, OKC played the Clippers was playing at the same time. That might be the lowest. Now I don't know this for fact. Lowest rated NBA game in the history. Like I gotta believe nobody watched that basketball game. And there's this thought that like that game, that World Series game, in some way revived or reminded people of baseball or what baseball could be. And I'm looking at y'all as like, cuz that's a one-off. These dudes, the Cubs won somewhere around 120 games when it was all said and done. And out of all those games that they won, we going to remember one, and somebody's going to try to convince me that that's going to change the narrative around baseball. Stop it. Stop. Hell no. You know what I mean? It was a good game. It was very exciting. A lot of back and forth. The rain delay gave us some drama, and then you heard about Jason Hayward's, I was about to do the same thing somebody else did today, halftime speech. Or yesterday, Chris Collinsworth did that. That rain delay speech that he gave to kind of get, the Cubs going again. Yeah, all that stuff makes for like good Hollywood type, whatever you want to call it. But it ain't going to make me be like, you know what I'm going to do next year? Watch 150 of 162 baseball games. Nah. Because if anything, all it's going to remind people of is, guess what? It's not going to be this way every time. You know what I mean? Like the first game of the season, you're going to realize, whew, that sure was an aberration. This is boring. And it sucks. You know what I mean? Yeah, because just everything about the game. They used like 20 different pitches apiece. The closer was pitching for like the third straight day, but 59 pitches every game. Like stuff that's never going to happen in another baseball game happened in that baseball game. So no hell. Nah, sorry, baseball people. Your sport is still dying. It's still becoming a very regionalized niche sport. Just because this World Series became more of a national spectacle, I don't think there's any bleed over. And two, it's the last game of the season. You know how quick people forget? This is how quick people forget. That game happened. The next night, Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant were facing off at the Oracle. Immediately. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, that was cool. Those people in Chicago got what they wanted. Now, let's watch ball. Immediately. Yeah, so you think this is going to carry over till next spring? You sadly mistaken. Nike puts on the commercial of the little black kid in Chicago, running around the bases and acting like he's damn like one of the Cubs by himself. Yeah, dude, that's Chicago. Yeah, sadly to say, he probably lost a bunch of his friends that he would have been out there playing with. That's the other thing I want to know, too. Like, after all this is said and done, it's kind of weird, man. As violent as the last month, this is all in all serious, the last month in Chicago, I think, has been one of the most violent, if not the most violent, this year. And with all those people, like 5 million people down there for that parade and pep rally and all that kind of stuff, I'm wondering, man, like, what we gonna hear coming out of that joint tonight, man? Like it ain't really nothing to play with up there, man. Like cats is, and for what it's worth, if you looked in those stands last night and any other night during the World Series, because of the price of them tickets, it's a lot of white faces, and okay, of course, because it's baseball as well, not a lot of bruhs, but I'm gonna be very interested to see. Obviously, I don't want any of that to happen, but as I said earlier, doesn't matter either way. My hoping and wanting doesn't matter. What's going to happen is going to happen. But, for a city like that, where we know the amount of violence that they experience up there, gun violence and things of that nature, I'll say it. I hope that it remains a celebratory mood I mean, at least for one day. Damn. You know what I mean? Like, I guess that's how you got to kind of play it in a situation like that, hour by hour, day by day. And then there's the Bartman situation. You know, the Bartman cat that a couple of years ago, not even a couple, it was like a decade ago. You know, the foul ball, him, Moises Alou. And there was this question at the beginning of the series, should they have him back to throw out a first pitch, and should they, you know, publicly forgive him and all this kind of craziness. And apparently he put out a statement today through somebody that, you know, he wasn't going to be at, he was happy, but he wasn't going to be at no parade and nothing like that. And I heard cats saying that, you know, look at this dude talking about he don't want it to be about him. But if that's the case, why putting out a statement? Like, people keep bringing this dude's name up. I'm not even going to front on that. And this is a dude who, if I'm to believe someone, I'll believe him. You know, a dude who could have signed away movie rights. He could have written books. He could have gone on speaking tours about this situation and came up, financially come up, right? He didn't. He didn't do any of that stuff. He's been in the shadows for a minute. And part of that is because if you saw that 30 for 30 on Bartman, like, them folks was going to kill him. Like, people was literally, this is how stupid people are. And this is why, like, that whole fandom thing, I'm always about, like, miss me with it. Because people think that is an excuse to be stupid. They was going to kill this dude. They had to sneak this dude out of the stadium. They had to, like, people was in the streets like a lynch mob looking for this dude because he happened to be the one to get his hands on the ball. You look at the play, everybody was doing the same thing every ignorant baseball fan does that's sitting in those seats. The ball goes, this little, I don't know, what they say the ball costs, like $5, $7 ball is being hit. And people get the freaking out and diving over each other for this baseball. He happened to be the one to touch it. And he ends up getting all the ire of everyone and the curse and all this kind of stupid, dumbass stuff. This is why, man. This is why I'm not into traditionalism. Like, we about to have, you know, Thanksgiving is about to come up and all you D-bags. I saw a Christmas commercial like yesterday or the day before yesterday. Dude, we ain't even hit Thanksgiving yet. And they got like Santa Claus in the Mercedes-Benz commercial. And I'm like, come on, man. But anyway, back to what I'm talking about. Traditionalism. That's why I'm not about that life, man. Because I think it's all stupid. And it forces people to never ask why. That's all tradition does. It makes you not ask why. And the reason you don't ask why is because of where the tradition come from. Like, you know, my grandmama always did that. And then my mama did it. Now I do it. But no one ever says why. Why do I do this? Like, I remember being a kid, and I'm the dude that was always this dude, basically, even as a little shorty. And I remember the day my mom told me that it wasn't no Santa Claus, and like, that's one of those things that people always kind of like frown, like, you can't do that to kids. You can't tell a kid that. Nah, stop lying to children. That's my position on all this food, Christmas, and stop lying to children, because that's where you get all this stuff, and that's where you get religion from and all that. You pump it through kids, and then kids grow up and pump it through other kids, and so forth and so on. That's what traditionalism is. So my mom tells me that, and I remember, because I was like 5, and I remember I was standing there while she was in the mirror getting ready for work. Like, she was just, you know, doing, you know how women do, the last minute primping before you walk out the door. And I don't know what I said to her, but I remember she said, "You see what I'm doing right now? I'm getting ready to go to work so I can make money. So I'm your Santa Claus." And I was like, damn right. Like, not to my mom, of course, but I remember that day going to school and just shattering the dreams of every one of my classmates. And like, everything that I had already been thinking before, like, moms had just confirmed it. Because, like, we ain't had no chimney or none of that stuff. It ain't snow, none of that stuff that you see on TV, sleighs and landing on the roof and sliding down the chimney. We ain't have none of that. So I went to school, was like, you dumbasses. How you believe in Santa Claus and you ain't got no chimney? What do you do, come through the back screen porch? Like, all that stuff was coming out of my mouth, dude. It was one of the most, like, I'll probably be like 100 if I live to be 100, and I'll never forget just going to school, just ripping kids, because, like, I was already cool with it. I was already like the same cat that I am right now, skeptical and, you know, kind of just questioning things. Like, as soon as moms dropped the hammer, I was like, you know what? Hell yeah. That makes a lot more sense than some fat white man coming to my neighborhood. Bet. We going to school and we about to lose everybody's confidence in life today. Yeah. What's Renee saying? That was a real a-hole move on you to do that, Mike. Yeah, it was. And it was awesome too. I was like 5 or 6 years old. I can't remember exactly how old I was, but I remember the thought that went through my mind when moms hit me with that. Like, she's like, I'm getting ready to go to work so I can make money because I'm your Santa Claus. And I was like, she's right. This is going to be awesome today. Oh, I had a couple of moments like that at school too, man. So for you, like, if anybody ever questions whether like I'm just like doing this because I'm talking into this microphone, nah, dude. Nah, cuz. Yeah, Renee's like, remind me to never let you meet my children. Whatever, dude. Stop lying to kids. Like, stop lying to kids that they can get on their knees and talk to an imaginary person and things happen because of that. Stop doing that. You know, because that's that. And let me be serious real quick too. And the part of me that never wants to be hypocritical, I feel that way, and I can laugh and joke about like Thanksgiving and Christmas and all that stuff. But where do you think like racism comes from? Like, why do you think racism never goes away? Because somebody's grandfather believed something, and then their father believed it or mother believed it, and then now they believe it because these things get passed down and passed down and passed down, and no one questions them. No, we're just better than black people. Those damn Mexicans. Yeah, they just tell these things to kids and children. And they continue to get passed down and passed down and passed down and passed down, these feelings. And people say, we got to end racism. No, you're not going to be able to, because to do that, you're going to have to end the things that you like too. You know, you got to end traditionalism. That's what it's surrounding. So like, I know why I'm joking about, you know, crushing kids in school and all that kind of stuff. It's funny as hell. But if you think a little bit deeper to that, or deeper than that, the past Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and all that kind of stuff, the things that, like, kids aren't born with the things, hatred and all that kind of things. These things are taught to kids, and and people who are religious and all, they're conditioned not to question. Like, you go to church, people always say, "What my pastor said," or "My grandmama did it this way." That's why it's traditionalism. You're conditioned not to question things based on the respect that you have for the people that you got the tradition from. If that makes sense. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, I guess is what it is, you know, for lack of a better word. So it all to me falls into the same bucket. You know what I mean? And so the same way people lie to children about Santa Claus because you think it makes them feel better, or you put money under their damn pillow for the tooth fairy, that's stupid. It's all stupid. You know what I mean? It's the same way somebody will say, this flag isn't about racism. It's about, what they say it is? What racist people say the Confederate flag is? I used to know this too. It's not racist. It's, God dog it. My racist speak is gone, and I had a brain fart just now. No, see, you know why you feel that way, Renee? Because you don't want to look at it. You don't want to look at the hypocrisy in it. Of course, it's in the same bucket. The same way, like, how do kids know about Santa Claus? How do kids know about the Easter Bunny? It's the same way some little white kid knows that he's better than black kids. The same way, because somebody told him that. And told them in a way where they wouldn't question it. They wouldn't say, you know, like the same way that so many black people who feel like this, that civil rights only has to do with black people. And then when some gay person or some trans person's rights are being infringed upon, like I saw this post the other day, and I had to comment on it. It was a gay pastor and his husband, and the question was, would you go to this church? And who you think was like, hell no, black people. You know why? Because black people have been taught over and over and over something's wrong with being gay. They don't see the parallel between being a gay person and having your rights infringed upon and being a black person in the 60s or a black person in 2016 and having your rights infringed upon. You know why? Because that was taught. That's nasty. Your uncle got a problem. No, it's the same thing. It's under the same umbrella. So as long as people want to steal a lot of kids, the problem that people have with racism and all that kind of stuff, it's going to exist. And homophobia and all that stuff, it's going to exist because of where it's rooted from, where it's rooted in. The people who you respect told you that these things were wrong, and you don't want to go against what great grandmama said or big mama said. You don't want to question her. Well, big mama, no. I sit here and watch all the time. My wife argued with her mom about this stuff, and I'm like, you're not going to change her mind. Her thoughts are rooted in something way beyond what you can tell her about gay people and whatever else. Yeah, I'm not saying anybody should be trying to change anybody, by the way. I'm going to take a break here in just a second. I'm just saying understand where it's coming from. Understand that the root of a lot of these things that we fall into or we don't like, they in the same bucket as the things that we like. That's the hypocrisy that you got to run from. Everybody wants what they want. You want your Christmas and you want your Easter bunny and you want all those things, but you don't want racism. They reside in the same place and they come from the same sense of traditionalism. It's One Mic with Big Mike here on Spreaker.com. I'm also on the app. Make sure you download that situation. If you got the TuneIn app, I'm there live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And, of course, on the website, OneMicWithBigMike.com. Don't forget to answer my question of the day. It's brought to us by SportsNewsAndBrews.com. You can answer the question, which is, what's the next big sports story? Where are we at? The Cubs have won. We got to have another big sports story, don't we? You can answer it by texting me at 404-902-8104. You can drop your comments below the streaming video on Facebook Live. Or, of course, you can jump inside this live interactive chat room. Just click on that thought bubble icon you see on the Spreaker app or the Spreaker website or, of course, my website, OneMicWithBigMike.com. I'll be right back.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at OneMicWithBigMike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to mooch off your friends.
You gonna finish that grape?
You mean the one in my mouth?
You don't need to stop buying the necessities.
What you're smelling is a natural musk.
Ew.
You don't need to be a medical test subject.
How do you feel?
Mostly okay. Sometimes, though.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
We need a new stuntman. Let's break for lunch.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
All right, deal.
Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
One Mic.
All I need is one mic.
What's the name of the show?
One Mic with Big Mike.
Ain't nobody getting hurt, ain't nobody, there's no crime being committed.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
This is real life stuff that's happened to me.
Well, you know what?
You, and you.
One Mic with Big Mike.
I like to be able to do what I want to do.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limits.
Meek Mill's concert is not called the Hell Yeah, I Banged Khloe Kardashian concert.
And now, your host.
Put your hands together for the one, the only
Big Mike.
One Mic, yeah. 1 hour down, 1 to go here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. Renee's still trying to convince me that I'm wrong about what I'm saying. I'll get back to that here in just a second. I'm here on Spreaker.com, on the Spreaker app as well as TuneIn, and of course, One Mic with BigMike.com. Don't forget, the show is available on demand. All the shows I've ever done are available on demand on all 4 of those outlets, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube, subscribe to my iTunes as well. It's just One Mic with Big Mike. Also, make sure you like my, what is it, like? Or do you follow me on Google Play Music? do something like that. Sorry. I forgot to take this thing out of auto. I'm sorry. That's my bad. Make sure you follow me on Facebook. Like my Facebook page. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. All the same at the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. I'm streaming live video right now on Facebook Live where you guys can leave comments below the streaming video. I do check them. You guys can also jump inside the live interactive chat room in this ridiculous conversation this ridiculous way that Renee is trying to convince me of what I'm saying is not wrong just because she doesn't like what I'm saying. Like, there's a difference between me being wrong and you just not liking it. Before I went to break, I was talking about I got into traditionalism. Oh, and because of the what's going on with the Cubs and all that kind of stuff, and people passing down that pain of the Cubs always losing to their kids, and people being in the streets today crying because their father is dead and didn't get a chance to see this and that kind of. And it just put me in the mind of traditionalism. And so when Renee hears me say things, she takes them as these blanket statements, as though there is no deviation to what I'm saying. Of course, there's going to be deviation. Not everyone is a traditionalist. I'm not. You asked about my wife. Why she's not? Because she's married to me, and I question everything. She was before. There was times when my wife would be like, "We got to go to church," and I'm like, "No, we don't. You can go. I mean, I don't care. You can go if that's what you want to do, but you can go." But then things, you start to notice things more and more, and start questioning things, and start realizing that there is a bunch of hypocrisy surrounding a lot of the things that people believe in that they don't even want to address. That's why. No, you're saying, Renee, I'm not paraphrasing what you're saying, and I'm going to move on from this here in a second because this is not entertaining to anyone but you and I. You saying that based on my theory, people only believe what their parents teach them, which is not always the case. You use the word always, and I'm saying to you, that's not what I'm saying. That there always going to be deviations to everything. Nothing's absolute. Well, me saying nothing is absolute is an absolute statement. Very few things are absolute. My point is the reason people believe a lot of the traditional things that they believe in. Ask yourself the question: Why do you love Christmas so much? You said Christmas is your joint. Why do you love Christmas so much? You weren't born that way. You didn't come out the womb saying, it's going to be an awesome thing. Me lying about the birth of this man named Jesus, who was actually born in the spring. That his birthday, somebody just made up a birthday of this man in December. And added all these gifts and trees and ornaments and stuff to this whole thing. Nah, if that's your thing, that's your thing. But my point is that people don't ask why. And when people start asking why, things start to change. Like if some white dude was like, why do I like Bloods and the Crips? I talk all the time about that documentary, right? The Bastards of the Party. The dude that did the documentary, that's why the documentary came to be. He realized that he had never asked, why do I hate these dudes because they wear a different color than I do? Why? And once he asked himself the question and took it upon himself to go look for the answers, he realized, wow, this is pretty stupid. I probably shouldn't be just killing these cats for different colors. And in a lot of things, you'll find that that's the thing. You started asking that one question, why? That 1 3-letter word, why? It'll uncover some things. Maybe sometimes it won't. Maybe sometimes you won't care. But I find life has taught me that most people don't ask why. Tradition is all it needs to be. Because it's always been done this way. And as I say at the beginning of the show in my intro, you say that to me, I'm just going to immediately say slavery. If something needs to be the way it is because it's always been that way, slavery is the perfect example for that. Anyway, let's get back to the show. I've spent enough time on that. The question of the day, by the way, brought to us by sportsnewsandbrews.com. You can continue to answer it. What do you think is the next big sports story? Like, where are we at now? The Cubs have won. The Red Sox won years ago. What's the next big sports story? Last night in the NFL, we had Thursday night football. Before I get into that, let me give you guys the schedule for the weekend in the NFL. It goes something like this. Last night, we had the Buccaneers and the Falcons. Falcons took care of business 43-28 down there at Raymond James Stadium. Got the Lions going to the Vikings. The Vikings have been on a little slide, man. Like Sam Bradford be getting his ass whooped. We've gone from this team could be a Super Bowl contender to them just being the Vikings. Norv Turner and bailed on everybody. He quit, and it's one of those things that I can't take credit for this. Somebody else mentioned this the other day, but I totally agree with it. If it was anybody else, a player you would call him a quitter, but everyone has the excuses for Norv and why Norv left, and maybe, Norv is an older guy. He's at the end of his career anyway. Whatever, you quit, dude. Just halfway through the season and you left. You could have waited, or you could have just did it at the beginning of the season when Teddy Bridgewater got hurt, but you didn't. So the Lions got to go take them on. I think the Lions lost their last ball game as well. Very winnable game, as we've seen. This Vikings team has a bunch of offensive deficiencies, especially along that offensive line. So it's a very winnable game for Matt Stafford and the boys. They can just stay away from making the mistakes against this vaunted Vikings defense, who I think is still number one in scoring defense, which is the only statistic that matters. All that yardage, total defense, all that crap. The defense is designed, or the purpose of defense is to keep the other team out the end zone. So if you're number one in scoring defense, you're the number one defense. Speaking of number one defense, two teams that were in that category for a long time in their history, not so much anymore. The Steelers and the Ravens go at it up there in Baltimore. Ben Roethlisberger supposed to be back like hella early from that knee injury up there in Baltimore. Terrell Suggs I heard him talking today, saying don't be fooled about this. He may play. Ben Roethlisberger's going to play. People feel like this dude is like a robot. I heard Herm Edwards talking about that today. If you're a fantasy owner of Ben Roethlisberger like I am, you got your eye on this one. The Jets go down and take on the Dolphins. Really, who cares? Cowboys and the Browns. I think that's going to be a tricky game for the Cowboys. Like, the Browns are terrible record-wise, but they play hard. The good thing for Rod Marinelli's defense, the good and the bad. Mo Claiborne is going to miss a couple of weeks, but they got Cody Kessler going at quarterback. The Browns do, the rookie quarterback. For Cody Kessler, I think he's got Corey Coleman, the rookie out of Baylor. He's going to be back. Terrell Pryor's had a nice season. And, of course, for the Cowboys, we know the story. Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, Dez, 2 games back from his knee injury, Cole Beasley, Terrence Williams, Jason Witten. They got a litany of cats that can handle the football for the Cowboys. On paper, it looks like it should be an easy win, but that Browns team plays hard. Got the Jaguars and their underwhelming season taking on what's the kid's name? Nick Foles is going to be the quarterback for the Chiefs. Alex Smith, who didn't have a concussion, by the way. They say he didn't have the concussion. He was asymptomatic. For whatever reason, guess what? He's not playing. So, yeah, somebody lying. But anyway, the Jaguars go to Arrowhead to take on the Chiefs. All these are 1 o'clock games, by the way. The Eagles take on the Giants. Apparently, the Eagles are still looking at ways of getting under Odell Beckham Jr.'s skin. It's like, let that go. If that kid is smart, and he seems to be, a kid that can now understand what's going on. That ain't going to work. Play ball. Carson Wentz, Eli Manning, just, play ball. The Eagles got a better defense, especially up front, than a lot of people thought they would. A lot of people thought that the Giants' defense up front would be better with Olivier Vernon, the one-hand man, and JPP. Not so much so far. They've been pretty good on the back end, but up front, not as much. The Panthers and the Rams, a very winnable and a must-win almost. The Panthers are already at five losses for the season. And, if you listen to the show, you heard my theory. It's 10 and you win. You got to get 10 wins to make the playoffs, at least. Some years it don't work out that way. Some years that 10 ain't enough. You might fall into a tiebreaker or something like that. But 10 wins means 6 losses. The Panthers lose this week to that bum-ass Rams team. That's 6 for them. So they got to run the table and look for some help if they plan on making another repeat trip to the playoffs. And then, there's the Rams, whatever. Case Keenum still starting. The kid Jared Goff can't get on the field yet, and his team is bad as hell. Yeah, I'm good. The Saints will have an opportunity this weekend going to San Francisco to gain a little bit of ground on the Atlanta Falcons. The Buccaneers had their shot yesterday, blew it in a major way. And it wasn't all their fault, and I'll talk about that here in just a second. But the Saints have an opportunity to go take on Colin Kaepernick and the 49ers. What does it say about that 49ers squad? The Saints are a team that, for better or worse, right, they're going to score points. They may not be able to stop nobody half the time, but playing this team this weekend, the 49ers, they're going to do it. They're going to do a good enough job stopping themselves. You got the Titans and the Chargers. The Chargers, a team that each and every week I talk about this Chargers team. Seemingly, they're not as bad as their record is, and any team they have the ability, especially with Phillip Rivers pulling the trigger, to beat any team out there. Then they're playing the Titans, a team that for at least the first couple of weeks, I'm not sure if this still stands, they had the best offensive line in the league as a group, and a couple of guys individually, the best offensive line in the league per Pro Football Focus. They got Marcus Mariota, of course. They had the scare last week with DeMarco Murray and the toe injury. They say it's fine, but Derrick Henry's still out there. So that should be a relatively good game at 425. The Colts and the Packers, two underwhelming quarterbacks in teams. Andrew Luck and the Colts take on the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. I heard somebody, I think it was Mike Lombardi, talking about the lack of explosiveness in that Packers offense. And for years now, people have been talking about not only that, but the predictability of Mike McCarthy's offense is really caught up with Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers, when you see him play, he doesn't look like he trusts the offense. Like, he is more willing and looking to ad-lib more than he is looking to run offensive plays a lot of the time. And for what it's worth, it's shown up in their play this year. And because they're in that badass AFC North, not bad. I ain't going to say that, because the Lions are doing good, are decent. Of course, up until 2 weeks ago, the Vikings were undefeated. And, of course, you got the Packers in there, and then the Bears suck balls until they beat the Vikings on Monday Night Football, which is whatever. Then Monday Night Football. You got the Bills, Rex Ryan's Cats, Percy Harvin in a revenge game. Nah, I'm playing. Percy Harvin's played for the Bills and the Seahawks, but again, like I said on Wednesday, he's the prototypical, when he's healthy. They always got to put that little asterisk on the back of Percy Harvin, his description. But they're going to take on Russell Wilson. What did I hear about the Seahawks? 7 games now? Or they, at this point, last year they had 700-yard games rushing, and this year they haven't had any. Something to that effect. And part of that's because Russell Wilson's been hurt. He's got the knee and the ankle, and I think he got a shoulder as well. Yeah, it gets tough, man. You start, I remember being in high school, and our coach had this theory, and to be real, I think I still believe in it, because it's just been ingrained in me that he could tell if, what was it, the 48-hour rule? He could tell if you had sex within 48 hours of the game. It was, for whatever reason, you just looked like it. It took whatever it took out of you. And people have done scientific studies about this, during Olympics times, athletes having sex before performing, and it's been mixed as far as the results. Some may do better, and they talk about it relaxing you and certain chemicals leaving your body and things of that nature. And for some people, it wearing them out. I guess depend on how you putting it down. I guess maybe whatever. But anyway, Russell Wilson probably having a little bit more sex than he was having last year. They had their little chastity or celibacy plan, him and the wifey, and now apparently she's preggers already. Yeah, he's already put a bun in that oven, so you already know what was going down at the old Wilson household. And now the injuries are the injury bug has bit him too. I don't know if one has to do with the other, but just kind of happened to play out that way. Let's go to the last night here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. We got about 40 minutes left in the show today for a Friday. You still got time to check in with your boy, either in the chat room, or you can text me at 404-902-8104, or you can leave comments below my live streaming video here on Facebook Live. My Facebook page is facebook.com/One Mic with Big Mike, spelled the numeral 1, MICWITHBIGMIKE. So last night, the Atlanta Falcons, and I mentioned this game to you guys on Wednesday, that this was a losable game for the Falcons if they didn't pay attention and come to play. Didn't turn out that way at all. But, yeah, they showed up in the game. No Dwight Freeney, no Tammy, no Tevin Coleman. They end up losing Desmond Trufant, who was getting cooked by Mike Evans. They lost someone else, too. I can't remember. Jameis Winston got his back blew out on the goal line. My man Gordon, he tweeted last night, one of my former coworkers, he said that goal line ain't safe no more. As I guess referring to what happened to the homie Cam Newton, and then now Jameis Winston got destroyed. He looked like he had a knee injury, What he did, his knee was hurting, but then after the game, he said he was fine. He was all good. The aforementioned Mike Evans, he got concussed on a one-handed catch. This concussion protocol ain't really working. I don't think how it's supposed to work, because that man got blasted, then he banged his head against the ground, and he came back in the game. I only know this because I read it, because, like, at a certain point, once the game was in hand for the Falcons, I was like, yep, perfect time to turn over to this OKC Golden State game. And the only thing I did after that was just kind of pay attention to my fantasy team. I had Matt Bryant, the kicker for the Falcons, and the tight end Brait for the Buccaneers on my fantasy team. And both of them got me 15 points apiece. So after that, I was kind of good. You know what I mean? But the one thing that came out of this game for me, well, not the one thing, but one of the things, is that these Thursday night football games got to go. I can do, especially during this portion of the season where we got basketball to keep our attention. I don't need football on Thursday right now, and I don't need bad football. Like, Cass is getting knocked off because they're not healthy. They haven't even recovered from the game before. Sunday, the Bucs defense played damn near 100 plays in that overtime loss to the Raiders, and then they have to turn right back around and play against the most potent offense in the league. That ain't really cool, you know. And I'm not saying not cool for them. I don't care about these cats on the football field, just like most of y'all don't care. I care about my entertainment value. I want to see good football. Like the game that they played in game one, and obviously things were different. Anton Smith is the other guy, the kid who used to play for the Falcons. I think it's the same kid. Play running back when they was down to like the six string running back. The Buccaneers were. He got hurt yesterday, going for the season too. So now the kid who gambled on himself at this point, Peyton Barber, the kid who left Auburn, who I've been trying. I did try. I tried earlier, and then Renee's been trying to get him on the show. That dude, he started last night. Now he is their definitely number one running back. They've lost every running back that's lined up behind Jameis Winston this year. That's simple. And, you know, the NFL's got to look at that and say, come on, man. Like, what are we doing? These funky color rush uniforms and all that kind of stuff. You killing the product, man. I feel like that's part of them killing the product. And here's the other thing, that now we're halfway through the season. Here's the other thing. This newfound, and I'm going to call it newfound, respect for Matt Ryan is comical. And the people who I'm talking to are the people who profess to be fans of the Atlanta Falcons. Like, y'all forget, maybe y'all haven't forgotten, or maybe you just never knew, that this ain't what I've always done. I've been on radio, call-in radio in this city in a couple of different formats, right? And the one thing I know to be very consistent, before this year, everything was Matt Ryan's fault. Check down Charlie. Look at that weak-ass arm. He can't even move. All those things. But now, all of a sudden, nobody remembers that. Everybody got amnesia. Matt Ryan always been your man, right? And here I am, dude. Again, no dog in the fight. But understand good quarterbacking when I see it. You know, I've always been looked upon as this defender of Matt Ryan. When in actuality, it wasn't about defending anybody. It was just pointing out what I see. Yeah, like most quarterbacks, he's got certain deficiencies in his game. But what the kid has always been, from the neck up, has been a pretty damn solid quarterback. And I've always given Matt Ryan like extra points for what he had to deal with, because apparently amnesia just don't run in his direction. It runs in the direction of the entire franchise. What he had to deal with, Dimitrov, Mike Smith had to deal with coming into the organization. Like, he was a kid out of Boston College who, it wasn't like, there wasn't a lot of like Andrew Luck talk around him. Like, this is a can't miss guy. Nah, the Falcons had to get a quarterback. It was three dudes to choose from, basically. It was he, Joe Flacco, who had transferred to Delaware, and then Chad Henne, the 4-year starter at Michigan. That was it. You know what I mean? That's what you had to choose from if you needed the quarterback that year in 2007 or whatever it was. And the Falcons chose right. And he ended up being the guy who brought this team out of what was going to be the sure pits of the damn National Football League after the Bobby Petrino stuff you was dealing with. What's the dude's name? The kid from Louisville, and you had Byron Leftwich and Joey Harrington. So I've always given Matt Ryan a couple of extra points for that. A couple more extra points for his durability. A kid who's going through a lot of this crappy offensive line play here in the city and continue to just get up, didn't miss no games. But throughout all that time, all you folks who were still looking through the back door to see if Mike Vick was going to show up, and he never did, and he never was going to, was always so ridiculously. I don't even want to use the word unfair because I hate using that word, fair and unfair. But you had a very terrible perspective as it related to Matt Ryan, as though he was supposed to be immediately Tom Brady or John Elway. And let's keep it real, he's still not those things. Matt Ryan is who he's always been. The only difference is now that he's gone from being a good quarterback who just consistently resided in the area of good to a guy who's taken and dipped his toe into the pool of great. Now, in order to swim in that pool, like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, you got to do it consistently. Drew Brees, you got to do it consistently year in and year at that high level. Right now, Matt Ryan he's playing great football, but I don't think you would make the mistake of calling him a great quarterback at this point. Like, there's still more to be seen, because next year, as crazy as it may be to fathom, you're gonna have a new offense next year. You know what I mean? The offensive coordinator that's here now, his last name is Shanahan, which means people have just been waiting for an opportunity to put him in the head coaching position based on his name. And now the fact that he's giving everybody a reason to take a look, this offense is doing some very, very good things. He's giving everybody a reason to look and say, yeah, we need him to be our next head coach. If you're in Jacksonville, for example, maybe in Detroit. Who else got some cats on the hot seat? L.A. with the Rams. Who else maybe? People thinking Marvin Lewis maybe. They got Andy Dalton. You got A.J. That's a comparable pairing to Julio and Matt. If you're Kyle Shanahan, feel me? So while Matt Ryan's playing great football now, next year we may see what we saw last year here in the city of Atlanta. A guy who is taking some time to adapt to a new offensive coordinator. And again, that is also the pitfall of having a defensive-minded head coach. Because, like, if you're like Mike McCarthy, for example, who I was just talking about earlier, and you got a turnover at your offensive coordinator position every year, it doesn't matter. Mike McCarthy calls the plays any damn way. You know what I mean? It's cool, whatever. But you got a defensive head coach, and you got to keep hiring offensive coordinators every year. It's gonna run its toll somewhat on your quarterback and on your offense as a whole. So we'll see. This may be the year of the Falcons, or it may have to be. Let me put it that way. It may have to be, because things may take a different turn next year, as far as this historic and high flying offense that we're seeing. All right, let's take a break. I want to come back. I got some stuff in the NCAA. I want to talk about Baylor, Harvard. Give you guys. It's really only 2 games that you need to be paying attention to this weekend, and outside of that, some games you might want to take a look at. Also, before I move on to that, I want to get out some commentary on a couple of more NFL stories real quick, and then we'll move on and wrap up the show for the week. Appreciate you guys joining me. I know I say that a lot, but I truly, truly do. Oh, and I got to tell you guys, man, I may not get to it. The situation, the social media situation for this week, it's like a constant thing. And like Renee's gonna be like, I told you so. I don't care. I don't. But you know what? Yeah, I'll do this. I'll wrap these NFL stories up and then I'll move on and tell you guys what happened. It should be quick. It is the One Mic with Big Mike show. I'm on Spreaker. I'm on the Spreaker app, as well as on TuneIn and my website, One Mic with Big Mike, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday starting at 7 o'clock. You guys can also see streaming video of the show live. Right now, Facebook Live, my Facebook page is One Mic with Big Mike, and be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the number 1 MIC, WITHBIGMIKE. And answer the question of the day. We want to know, what's the next big untold sports story? You can text me that answer to 404-902-8104, and I'll read it live on the air. You can also leave it as a comment below the live streaming video, or jump on in my live interactive chat room. If you're listening on Spreaker or my website, just click that little thought bubble icon, and boom, you're in the chat room where you can leave all your answers and answer all your questions. You can even read all this stuff that Renee is chastising me about when it comes to traditionalism. and I just noticed this too. The all caps are yelling at me. Anyway, man, we're going to take a break. I'll be back shortly.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
When is the best time to talk to your family about staying in touch during a disaster? When floodwaters reach your door? When wildfires are engulfing the edge of your neighborhood? Or an earthquake is destroying buildings? When a tornado is tearing through town? Or a hurricane strikes? Or is the best time perhaps today? During a disaster, you may not be able to stay in touch with your family or friends as easily as you think. And it's not always as simple as using your cell phone. That's why now is the time to take action. Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
And now back to One Mic with Big Mike.
And here we go.
I'm stoner. Welcome back to the One Mic with Big Mike show. Last segment of the show. We got like 28 minutes left, so I got to try to pack all this stuff in. That's what she said also. For the last couple minutes here. Shout out to Chris Detox Hall. Checking in with your boy on the old Facebook Live. You guys can too. The Facebook page is One Mic with Big Mike. That's also my Twitter and my Instagram. I'm being heard live right now, as I am every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, starting at 7 o'clock on Spreaker. Spreaker also has an app. I'm also live on the TuneIn app and my website, onemicwithbigmike.com. Speaking of Facebook, you know what's weird? It feels like Facebook friends are much more important to people than I think they are, or I've thought they are. I'm starting to kind of gather that, like, people will do a lot of different things not to have you as a Facebook friend, as though, like, it matters for some reason. It's real weird to me, and maybe at a certain point I'll gain an understanding for it, but I don't right now. Like, earlier today, right, I do this thing just so people know, and Renee hates, I guess, well, I don't say hates that I do it, but she don't like that I do it. She says it's tasteless is what the word was that she used. I always tag my comment. If I comment on your post, if you have something that's interesting to me, I'll comment on it, but I'll tag the post or sign the post or whatever however you want to look at it, with my website. And then my little, the logo of the show will pop up, so that now anyone else who comments on your video can see that my website is there, and they can be introduced to my show. And Renee, she, what was it that you said it was? Hijacking the post, which only makes me want to do it more because it sounds cool, hijacking it. So that's my thing. I'm going to hijack your post. Here's the thing also. If you don't want me doing it, again, I don't know you MFers at all. So it's simple. It's a simple just Facebook allows you to just unfollow or whatever it is, right? Unfriend or whatever it is. And that's fine. Like, we don't have to have a conversation about it. So like today, somebody was like, I thought I asked you not to advertise on my posts. And I was like, you probably did, but yeah, I don't care. and she was like, so you're just not going to respect my posts or my page or something like that? And I was like, you do realize this is Facebook, don't you? And shouldn't be that serious. I'm not hurting anyone. And it was like 2 more exchanges back and forth. And I'm thinking to myself, I even checked. I was like, this bride hadn't unfollowed me yet or unfriended me? Like, I don't even know who you are. That seemed like it would be the first response. Like, someone does something and you don't like it, just be like, all right, bye. And so it just got me to think, it's like, is having one extra Facebook friend that important that like you would have to like negotiate a hijacking, because that's what it is apparently. There's a hijacking going on. So you got to like, you feel the need to negotiate with this person that you will never meet in real life that, as far as I'm concerned, is not real. I'm here for one. I'm like Marshawn Lynch. I'm here for one thing, man. You know what I mean? And if people say, you know what, I don't like this dude's doing that, I'm fine with that. But you know the other thing that I'm fine with is like when cats like Big L or excuse me for not remembering the cat who found the show last week or the last episode of the show. I'm even more fine with people like that who see my post and say, let me check this cat out. Let me see what this is all about. I'd rather, this is my, and I'll move on after this. This is my philosophy. I'd rather 20 people a day see me do that and say, you know what, I ain't trying to hear that, and just hit the unfriend or whatever. I trade those 20 people for 2 people a week that tune into my show for the first time. I gladly make that trade any day of any week of any year. You understand? So these people who want to take this Facebook thing all seriously and proclaim ownership, this is my post, this is my page. I do think Facebook allows you to privatize these things too, right? If you want people, only the people that you want on these pages and posts and all this kind of stuff, do that. Or not. You know, whatever. But it just seems like, God, like everybody's so irritable these days. You know what I mean? Just, I need to find something today to be pissed off about. I know what I'll do. This dude that's trying to do the best he can to promote this business. Because here's the thing. If I didn't do that, how would anybody know I was here? The people who listen to this show, the people who find this show, they don't just do it by osmosis. You know what I mean? So if I don't do that, what if somebody could give me another alternative? I'll be glad to listen if it's worth a damn. But the reality is, look, that's the way it's done. That's the way McDonald's does it. That's the way Burger King and Coca-Cola does it. You just don't care because it's them. It's a young black dude trying to, you know, come up and do right. It's a problem. Moving right along here. Some other stuff from the world of the NFL before I move on to college football real quick. I'm going to talk to you guys probably on Monday about Kevin Turner. Because we're going to try to get his dad on. Kevin Turner just recently passed. His brain, he's a former NFL player. He was found to have chronic traumatic encephalopathy in his brain. But his story is a little bit different than the ones you've heard before. Also, there's a story about this kid, Eli Apple, from the New York Giants. And his mom, ever since he was drafted, his mom became like this star. ESPN has made this woman a star because when her son got drafted, she kind of put out this tweet about telling these internet girls or Instagram girls to stay away from her son. And I'll say this. from the very beginning, from the time she did that, I was like, why? Like, raise your kids. Like, if you raise your kids, I feel the same way about these dudes who think they got to take pictures with their daughter in their prom date and they holding a gun. Raise your daughter right. If you ain't believing that your daughter's gonna be out here hoeing on prom night, you ain't gotta be on no picture with some young kid with a gun, holding a gun on the kid. You ain't gotta do that. I feel the same way about Eli Apple and his mom. Like, if your son has been raised right and he's respectful to women and all that, and you feel like, you know, you've raised him in a way where he won't fall into the trappings of being an NFL player, well, you ain't got to do all that stuff. Get on the internet. Because here's the thing, too. That's doing nothing to these thirsty-ass chicks on the... Like, they probably going to see it as a challenge. You know what I mean? Like, oh, yeah, ma? Wait till I throw this ass and these breasticles on him. Yeah. Come on, man. You ain't doing nothing but making a spectacle of yourself. So anyway, she's become because ESPN then had her all on the show, and apparently now she's a contributor for ESPN and SI. But now it's getting uncomfortable for her son. And the reason it's getting uncomfortable for her son is kind of putting people in a crazy position. Her son plays for the Giants, and we know on this show we've had our conversation about Josh Brown and the way they've handled it. And I had the conversation long before it became a conversation. If you guys remember, if you guys listen to the show, like the day he came back from suspension, I was like, hold on, ain't nobody going to say nothing? And I talked about how people are willing to overlook things. As soon as this dude hits a game-winning kick, it's like we don't care that he beat up his woman 20 times. And that's exactly how it ended up playing out until what? A journal with him admitting to doing the same thing this woman said he did. Yeah, and then everybody was like, oh, my God, I can't believe the Giants handled it that way. Yeah, you know who wasn't that way? Me. Because I was like that at the beginning. Like, after this one-game suspension, I was that dude. So anyway, Eli Apple's mom ended up penning a piece in I think it was in either SI or on ESPN.com. And in the piece, she talked about how she was a victim of domestic violence, and she's embarrassed about how the Giants handled the situation and this, that, and the other. And she also talked about how when they went to London, she went on the trip to London, but she couldn't bring herself to go to the game and cheer for the team. And I'm like, well, come on, Ma, you was cheering for the team before this dude's journal came out. Like, what's the difference? Like, I don't understand that theory. I don't understand the people who need to see Ray Rice punch his woman out to understand how bad it was. You know what I mean? And I keep telling you, I keep bringing up this name. You can Google it, Jovan Belcher. Because you didn't see him blow his own head off. It was like, couldn't have been that bad. Miss me, man. I'm good. So anyway, the thing with this kid is now, like, she tried to say that the Giants came after her son to get her, to shut her up. He's saying, no, that didn't happen. And I've always been, like, even back to the days of, like, Allen Iverson's mom, like, I've always been that dude to be real, like it really, like, irky about grown men having their moms and their wives speak for them in their place of business. Like, where else does that happen in America? Like, if you had an IBM job or you worked at Subway or something, you got your moms, running up in there, talking to your boss and all this kind of stuff. That's always been so weird to me. But, I can't really say it's on her because ESPN, the idiot mongers they are, as soon as somebody get more than 20 hits on a Facebook post and they have an association with somebody who is lightweight, an athlete, like, this dude was a rookie and he ain't even one of the better ones. He's been hurt, but now his mom is a celebrity because ESPN said so. They want you to believe that they're the dog that's being wagged by the tail, but it's not. You know what I mean? They dictate all this stuff. And now, you got a situation where this kid, he wants to be a respectful kid to his mom. Of course you do. But, he's like, I just want to play ball, Mom. I don't want all this extraness that you bring into the table. Calling my bosses out and all that kind of stuff. And which, by the way, I'll say that whether she was his mom or not, being a woman and someone who's experienced the things that she has, I think it's important that every and anyone speak about the situation. But, like, if I'm talking to the kid, like, you ain't trying to tell your mom to back up at the beginning. You thought it was cute and all that kind of stuff at the beginning. You can't ask her to do it now. And I've always been the guy who felt like Kurt Warner's wife used to always be on TV, Brett Grimes' wifey, Miko, like she always doing the most on got this dude cut from the team. You know, because they ain't feel like dealing with her no more. Like, this dude I've never heard this dude speak. He played here in Atlanta. I've never heard that dude speak. But his wife, he got a beef with everybody. Talking about Cat's money. Nah, I just don't believe in that. Also, anyway, wrapping up this NFL stuff real quick. There's an article that's on my Facebook page. You guys can go there, One Mic with Big Mike, about Melvin Gordon. If you want to know a little bit more about Melvin Gordon, man, I felt like it was an interesting article about his dad. His dad's like this big-time dope dealer. He's about to get out of jail, I think, next year. And his relationship as a kid with his dad, it's one of those things, man, you look at, man, it's not the average old, hood dope boy, situation. Like, his dad sounds like a real ass dad, man, that just found his way in life being a street pharmaceutical or a street pharmacist. And I got this article here about the decline in quarterback play. I'm gonna save this till Monday. I think this will be more apropos Monday after all the games get played in the league this weekend. So moving on to the world of the NCAA. Don't forget to check out the Ben Simmons situation tonight. One and done on Showtime if you got it, or if you got somebody you can get it from. Or like I said, I think you can, if you download the Showtime app on your phone or whatnot, it's free for like 30 days or something like that if you really want to check this Ben Simmons situation out. And I think I kind of think I do. I think I want to check it out. God, I got so much to get into. I got the NCAA stuff. I got the NBA. Quickly, let's just go through the games in the NCAA. And this Harvard thing probably can wait. Yeah. All right, so this weekend, of course, you got Alabama, LSU. That's the big one going on tomorrow night. I just did it. Renee, I just heard myself do it. I just heard the sigh because I'm looking for this damn article. That's with all the games and whatnot from this weekend, and I don't see it. You got Nebraska. The other big game is Nebraska and Ohio State. It's a bigger game for Ohio State than it is for Nebraska. I think Nebraska is still going to find a way to win the West, but Ohio State needs to win this game to keep themselves in contention. So when they play Michigan, the winner of that game will go to the Big Ten championship, and then, of course, then probably the winner of that game, the Big Ten championship, finds themselves in the 4-team playoff. Okay, so tonight at 10:15, you're going to see San Jose State against Boise. If you guys hadn't seen Boise play this year, I hadn't, so I might go ahead and give it a gander. Got Wisconsin and Northwestern. That Northwestern team just came off of a near they hung in there real tight against Ohio State last week, so Wisconsin's going to need to watch out. That's number 8, Wisconsin. If you just want to see Lamar Jackson tear up a team, Louisville's got Boston College on ESPN2 at noon. Florida against Arkansas. Florida's going to need to win out because Kentucky, my goodness, Kentucky, who plays Georgia this week. Kentucky's like right there on their heels in second place, and of course, remember they got Arkansas. Then they got to travel. I think the last game of the season, or either next week, they got to travel to Baton Rouge to make up that game, that Hurricane game that got postponed. I already mentioned Alabama and LSU. Leonard Fournette, what's the kid's name? Jalen Hurts, and Nick Saban's crew. Nebraska and Ohio State, I mentioned that as well. Florida State, NC State, another team that's, Florida State's number 22, and they've lost a couple of games. And NC State has really hung in there against some better competition. Not better than Florida State. Well, record-wise, better than Florida State, Louisville, Clemson. They've hung in there against those teams. So if you just want to sit around and watch some college football, there you go. I'm going to check out this Georgia at Kentucky only because I haven't seen Kentucky play this year, and I want to see if they're actually as good as advertised. And, of course, late night in the Pac-12, you got Washington and Cal. Should be a pretty easy win for Washington, but I know a lot of you guys don't get a chance to check out the Washington crew. So if you want to check out Washington before the season's over with and see why they are number 5 and not number 4, Texas A&M being number 4 in the BCS rankings, there's that. I have this story on Harvard, but I'll save it. Yeah, I'll save it for Monday just because it's got a little bit of meat on the bone, and I want to kind of dive into it because I'm not sure I totally agree with what's happening or how things are going down. And I mean, if you guys listen to my show enough, I talk about the oversensitive nature of society now, where everything seems to be about people's feelings and people being offended by this and that and other. And as soon as someone gets offended, there's a problem. But I want to end the show by talking about last night. Russ and the boys, OKC, went to the Oracle. Is it the Oracle or just Oracle? I think it's Oracle. Went to Oracle Arena, I think is what it's officially called, to take on Steph, Clay, Draymond, and of course Kevin Durant. And Russ shows up. He's gonna wear something funky, but he shows up with this smock on that says something about being the official photographer. And I guess at some point Renee saw it. Renee saw the smock, and she was like, "I wish he would just come out and say what he want to say." And the thing about it is, I'm all for a certain level, not even a certain level. Like, I can't really gauge anyone else's pettiness. Be as petty as you want to be. And I think that's what it is. I think part of what it is, I think he's just feeding into people. Like, he gives these interviews as, I don't know what you're talking about. But he does all this stuff. And I think that's a part of what fuels a guy like Russell Westbrook. He's always come across to me as this guy who is fueled by some inner thing, some emotion that he kind of just keeps to himself as his own personal fuel. And I don't like, people want this to be him against Kevin Durant and him being mad at Kevin Durant. What I think this is a guy who's always had to prove himself. A guy who wasn't recruited out of high school heavily, and a guy who was at one point in his life too small to play basketball. A guy who's always had to prove himself. So now that Kevin Durant is gone, I think it's just another one of those cases in life for him where, all right, let's run it. I'm gonna prove it to you, MFers, that I can get this done, even when the odds seem so insurmountable. And there's a couple of reasons that I feel this way. One, because look how quickly he signed that extension. Like, he cost himself a couple of $1 million he could have easily gone into free agency. And if he wanted to go back to Oklahoma City, the day after he, became a free agent, just re-signed the max deal with OKC. And it would have been the same thing, but he felt compelled as soon as Kevin Durant left, damn near as soon as he left, to make the people of OKC, the organization, feel secure that he wasn't going to do the same thing. He wasn't going to put them out of their way. And I feel like that's a decision that's made out of emotion rather than business. Because the same result would have been made. He ain't got to go take no trips nowhere or have no meetings in the Hamptons like KD had. He could just be like, you know what? I'm staying, but I want all of my money. I want all of it. That, and also, I remember a couple of years ago reading a story about him as a kid, and his best friend died, and he's a cat that, like, once that happened, I remember part of the story that really got my attention, that every morning before school he would go to his homie's house and do his chores, like help his moms out and do his chores before he went to school. And that story tells me that this dude is he's a loyalist. He's someone who really, really believes in loyalty. And when someone is not loyal to him, it does something. He feels some type of way about it. And I don't know that that's necessarily him not liking KD or him, feeling like some sort of level of hate. But I can see, and this is all obviously, speculative, but I can see, based on what I've read and what I know about this kid's past, it's like, one, I got to prove something, and two, the other thing, in the same vein, I want to prove this dude I don't need him. If he feel like he don't need me, I don't need him. And here's the thing about the dynamic of that relationship on the court. On the court, if you guys remember, Russ was kind of supposed to be the help. You know what I mean? But he plays point guard. So that dynamic started to change where KD became like the help. Like, dude, like I'm the one, I run the team. I'm the floor general and you're my sidekick type thing. Because Russ got better. You know, like as the years went on, he came into his own more and more and more. KD got hurt. Russ started going on this triple-double tear. He was in the conversation for MVP. Like, that stuff matters. When you start talking about two dudes, two alpha dudes, and where one dude is not willing to relent, and the other dude is like, you know what, this isn't really fun to me. And these cats who just beat me and look like they're having way more fun than I'm having doing my job at the same level. So in the vein of self-preservation, a guy like KD says, you know what, I can have a more enjoyable time playing basketball with this other team that's probably, for the long haul, going to be better than the team that I'm on right now. Even though we got 2 MVP candidates, 2 perennial all-stars on this team, the reality is with a guy like Russ, and as much as I love watching that dude play, part of the reason I love the way he plays because his fire burns so hot. But the thing about a dude whose fire burns that hot, I have to even be a realist and ask myself the question, can he do this for 82 ball games? Like, can he stay healthy, and can he exert the amount of energy that he has to exert to be himself for 82 games and win? That question is going to be answered in time, of course, but if I had to sit here right now and answer it, I'd really, at first blush, I'd just be like, I don't think it's possible. I think he, more so than he may want to admit, he needs more than Victor Oladipo. You know what I mean? And Enes Kanter and Steven Adams. He needs more than that. He needs by the way, I think all 3 of them dudes got, I know Oladipo got extended. I think Steven Adams got extended as well. Like, OKC to start delving out money. But I think Russ needs more than he thinks he does, and problem might end up being is that he realizes it later than sooner. You know what I mean? That, and not saying that it's his fault that Kevin Durant, I think Kevin Durant just left on his own accord. You know what I mean? But in the same breath, I felt like Russ should have played his cards better. Like, maybe, like I was one of the first people to say, like Oklahoma City just be like, when Kevin Durant left, I said Oklahoma City just became Oklahoma City. The shoe is dropped. Like, there's no way that market, a team in that market is supposed to be that good, and especially for that long with 2 superstars. Psh, nah. Because I'm thinking Russ is gone. He's out of there. But I overestimated. I thought he's gonna go home, go to LA. You know, Kobe's gone. A couple of years, D'Angelo Russell would come into his own, Julius Randle, Jordan Clarkson, a nice little young nucleus of a team. Just waiting for that big time personality stuff. And I think D'Angelo Russell feels like he's that guy anyway. So I don't know. But for the foreseeable future, man, Russ is gonna be in Oklahoma City. As far as the game went last night, Durant came out first quarter, 13 points. He was pacing the Golden State Warriors. They got off to another slow start, but then it happened. The same thing I was talking about in the first game that they lost to San Antonio, waiting on that wave, that that Golden State wave. It happened. It happened in the form of, I think, like a 22-3 run after this kid, Jerian Grant, the kid who just got on the team, thought he was going to like dunk on Durant and give him the business, like in some alternate universe, Jerian Grant and Kevin Durant are in the same actual conversation. Well, following that, your man just went all the way in. Halftime, they up 68-43. Westbrook wasn't shooting the ball well. First half, 3 of 13. I think he ended up like 4 of whatever. He's passing the ball probably trying to calm himself way more than he should have, and not just be that, inferno that we're used to him being. By the way, the final score is 122-96. KD ended up with 39 points. Klay Thompson got off the snide a little bit shooting. He's been shooting the ball pretty poorly for anybody in the first couple of games of the season, and he hit a couple threes in the game. Russ was 4 for 15, by the way, 10 assists, but he turned the ball over 6 times. So I think they got L.A. tonight. Oklahoma City's got L.A. tonight. The Hawks got the Rockets tomorrow night. The Hawks playing the Wizards right now. They got the Rockets tomorrow night. Let me give you guys the schedule real quick before I get out of here for the night. Playing right now, the Heat and the Raptors, the Hornets and the Nets, the Clippers and the Grizz playing the Knicks and the Bulls. Derrick Rose back in the building at the United Center. Suns and the Pelicans, the Trailblazers and the Mavericks. Starting right now, the Spurs and the Jazz, and later on, you got the Warriors and the Lakers. I mentioned tomorrow night, Dwight Howard get to see his boy James Harden and the Rockets, so that should be fun as well. That's going to do it for the week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Spreaker.com is where you hear One Mic with Big Mike. 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Speaking of Eastern Standard Time, make sure you guys, fall back on Sunday, right? You got to fall back on Sunday and get is it an extra hour of sleep? Or do you lose an hour? Then get an extra hour of sleep on Sunday. So enjoy the hour longer weekend. And I'll meet you guys back here on Monday. My man Ben Troop will be joining me as he does each and every Monday for Troop Talk. Ben Troop being a former SEC and NFL tight end. Make sure you catch up on any episode of One Mic with Big Mike that you may have missed on Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app, as well as on TuneIn, OneMicWithBigMike.com, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and you can catch the video and the audio on YouTube. And make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page. Catch me on Twitter and Instagram all weekend long at One Mic with Big Mike. And tomorrow morning, the big homie Rob Calloway got your HBCU report. It is exactly what it sounds like. It's a report on historically black colleges and universities tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock, right here on Spreaker. Until Monday, once again, Renee, thank you for everything. Thank you. I definitely 100% appreciate you. And I appreciate everyone who checks out One Mic with Big Mike. And I'll see you guys on Monday. Enjoy.